back. You're listening to the Exitology Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show on the International Business Growth Radio Network. I'm your host, Jason Wally Waldron. We've been talking about the value acceleration methodology and specifically how Exitology fits into it. And when you're looking at a business that has identified where they are in terms of how far they might be from their exit, and they've started to work to protect themselves against some of the unfortunate eventualities of life, we are on the building side. And so there's two ways that you can build your value, and we help people do both. The first is to increase your cash flow, also known as your EBITDA. And the second is to improve your multiple. And I want to walk you through a couple ways of how we've done that in different industries. And so let's start with the business-to-business automotive industry. And so if you've ever gone to the SEMA show in Vegas, or if you've ever had your car worked on, you've been touched by the business-to-business automotive industry. And the first story I'd like to give you is an example of a company that has been a lot of fun to work with, and we've continued to help them grow and increase their transferable value. And as I'm telling you about this story, we might use the word value acceleration, we might use the word valuation, we might use the word multiple, we might use the word value enhancement. At the end of the day, what it means is that the business is more transferable at a higher price for the ownership, okay? And so in this first case study, this business came to us, and they were a really neat situation. It was a father-son deal. And so father had been a traditional belly-to-belly, offline, run around and shake hands type salesperson. And he was selling into the East Coast automotive market. And so if you think about like an auto shop that has, say, 2-post or 4-post lifts to lift the cars and the trucks that they're working on, this gentleman was selling those types of things into those shops. He was also selling things like spray booths and selling things, really anything that you would need, pipe benders, let's say, anything that you would really need to work on cars and keep them maintained, especially in the rusty region of the East. He was selling that, and his son looked at what he was doing and was coming into his own, sort of moving into adulthood, quarter life, early, mid 20s, early 30s type time period. And his son realized that he could take everything that his father knew and build an e-commerce business with it. I almost said e-commerce store, but really it's a business. And so he started that a number of years ago, over a decade ago now. And we started working together a little over half a decade ago. And initially, the first conversation we had was around conversion optimization. And so we took our grow to exit lens, and what we're always looking for on the front end of helping a business grow and helping a business build their valuation and build how much they're worth is, first, we've got to either help them create more sales with the channels they already have, or we've got to help them get more of the types of conversations, more leads, right? Curate a lead surge in order to help them open up new channels and new offers. One or the other, right? So in this case, when we did our initial consultation, what we realized was that the growth linchpin of this company was all about conversion optimization. And in another episode of the Exitology, Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show, we talked in depth about the David versus Goliath strategy. And I'm sharing with you a version of that applied. And what we did was we looked at their top 3 competitors, and we identified 7 psychological triggers that the competitors were using online in their online stores and online businesses that my client was not using. And so what did we do? We simply said thank you, we observed, and we took those same psychological triggers and design elements and applied them to my client. Sounds easier said than done, right? What happened? Well, we had the same types of channels available to us. We had the same leads coming in. But if yesterday we had $1 for every lead coming in, the next day we had $1.56 coming in. This really helped them build. It actually helped them go and over double their business. And they were on a pretty low end of the business scale from folks we work with. They were definitely a mom and pop Main Street type of business. They were around $1.2 million top line revenue. By the end of the next year, after we worked with them for a full year, they were at 2.5 and growing. And so if you look at this through this scaling lens, what actually happened was we were able to take them from that potential valley of death that happens around the $1 million revenue mark and allow them, empower them and help them to scale up to that next $3 million revenue mark. My favorite part about the story, though, is as we continued to work with them, we've become trusted business strategy partners with them, and they run most of their biggest decisions by us. Why? Because, as we always say in the Exit Planning Institute, good exit planning is just good business strategy, right? Proper, effective exit planning, right, is just good business strategy. So that's what value enhancement looks like. And in the case of this company, we've now helped them grow into an 8-figure zone, and they're looking at what are the next 5 or 10 years. Are they going to pass this business down as a legacy? Because remember, it's already a legacy business, father to son. Son enhanced it, and then he worked with us to further enhance it. Or perhaps they're going to grow by acquisition. And so you can start to see how by working with someone who has a 360-degree view of the value acceleration methodology and also the idea of value enhancement, you can see how you end up having a growth partner in your business. And again, I can't stress this enough. What is the metric by which they are held accountable? That's right, transferable value, and is that multiple going up? So that's a really cool story, and that's a pure growth scenario. I want to give you more of another example from the B2B automotive industry, and this is just one real life example, but it's very representative of what we see a lot of. And this is a business. When we worked with them, what I'm going to demonstrate here with you is the power of applying a growth lens and the power of applying a build lens, and the power of applying value enhancement and value acceleration to a business. Because if you think about what strategy is supposed to be, it's and what it is, right? What is good strategy? It's insight that then can be applied to bring the future goal to come forth faster. And so in this case, this was an interesting business. We found them a little early stage, really startup. They were kind of doing the cash flow thing where the cash flow goes out to get product, and they move product, and they buy more product, and they get more cash flow. But it was sort of just moving in a circle, and everybody felt like they were starving and that they didn't have enough resources, time, or capacity. It happens. And so this business was on the precipice of the valley of death, and there's a plateau that occurs there at $1 million. And at the same time, the opportunities for this business was large and exciting. The business case that we saw from an opportunity side of things was to grow the business from 1 million to 12 million, maybe even up to 16 million over the next 3 years. That's a rapid growth scenario, and you're going to need team members who have been there and done that if you're going to go down that journey, right? But beginning with the end in mind, we identified that if you could build a business at 12 million in revenue with 20% EBITDA, that they should be able to get an average 2.4x multiple, and that would put them in the neighborhood of a $16 million valuation once you took all the different capitals into place. And that would set the owners up to either do an ESOP or some type of other legacy creating exit. And this business, what was interesting about it is what was actually holding them back was looking in the wrong direction. And what I mean by that is they had a great product, but they were using their human capital in the business incorrectly. And they were also, maybe not incorrectly, incorrectly, in an unaligned manner, that's for sure. And what they were doing was they were also spending way too much time targeting the B2C world, not the B2B world. And so what we discovered during our analysis, and I'm sharing this with you very openly because this is the power of this methodology. And so what we discovered was on the front end here, going through this, is that if we could simply build on their strength of their B2C model working, but take most of that off of their plate by building a team and building some infrastructure and workflows around them, that the principles in the business could work the whale clients, which is the business-to-business model. So instead of doing an average of, say, $250 a sale, they could refocus their workflows, refocus their time and energy into their zone of genius and focus on $250,000 sales. And so in order to do that, they had to change how they were thinking about it. And that's really the first step that I want to leave you with here when you're considering going through value enhancement. Both of these businesses are more valuable than they were before they started. And as you go through the value acceleration methodology, every 90 days you ask the question, do I grow or do I exit? And in this case, both of these examples have chosen to keep growing. They're not yet ready for the exit. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to share with you some folks who have chosen to exit. You're listening to the Exitology, Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show on the International Business Growth Radio Network.